Well, hello. What a treat we have today. But first, I'm looking good, feeling good, loving life. I hope you can say the same. Today, my guest, he is a legend among legends. He is a veteran and a patriot who loves his country. He's won more titles than I have time to name right now. He has wrestled every top star from the 70s and 80s. He is the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez.
Hey, kid, nice to have.
Thank you. This is really great for me. I really appreciate your time. I have so many questions to get to. I hope we can get through them. I know you just went through training today with a lot of guys, so you're probably exhausted.
No, I'm not. I feel good. It's Memorial Day weekend. I got all my brothers in my head, all my family, like the veterans and stuff. And, you know, when you talk about legends, only legends that living to me are in Arlington Cemetery. They gave everything for us to be free, to be here, for people to enjoy the barbecues, enjoy the time for Memorial Day. They're there because of us.
Absolutely,
okay?
Absolutely. So much respect.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Let's go.
What was life like for you growing up?
Yeah, I had a rough life. You know, I never had a father. I had a strong mother. That's why Mother's Days are hard for me, because my mom raised me and she taught me, right off the bat, she taught me respect. She was a school teacher. She taught school. She was my second grade teacher. All my sisters were taught by my mom. There was 9 of us, you know, and she raised 9 kids on her own. Never had a stepdad, never had a dad. She Catholic mother, like I stayed Catholic, and never remarried, never broke her vows, never redated, never nothing. And she watched her son grow up, and she had a vision of me. And why she had that vision, I do not know. She just told me one day when I was 10 years old, and she's watching me play. I was an all-star catcher. I love baseball, right? And I love catching because I love people to try to come home. Because I played football, and I dip my shoulder and drill them into the ground. And people get so mad, that guy's hurting the guys. I didn't care. You had the guts to come home, so the balls to come home to me, I was going to make you pay for it, you know. So that's how football got along. My mom always taught me to be the best, try hard, work hard, be the best, but have respect. My mom taught me sports. You know, my mom was a great athlete. I sled at high school in El Paso, Texas. My mom swam, played volleyball and baseball, and she taught us sports.
Were you a good athlete growing up?
Yes, I was. Her vision was, everything came natural to me. I saw something, I said, Mom, I want to play that, okay? Then go out there and do your best. And it just seemed to, you know, I wanted to be a catcher, and all of a sudden I was an all-star catcher. I was an all-star catcher the whole time I played catcher. And then I saw football, kids playing football, and my mom was driving me home from baseball practice, and I said, Mom, what's that? And she goes, that's football. I go, man, I like that. She goes, you want to play it? I go, yeah, Mom, I'd love to play that. Because, you know, I saw them all hitting. My mom took me out of the car. We got Overfeld High School, big football field there where my sisters went to high school. And she got down on all three offensive lineman positions, 3-point stance. And she goes, get down like that. And I got down like that. And she fired out and hit me, knocked me back. And I got up almost crying because it hurt, right? And she goes, you do that again, you won't play nothing. I never cried again until she died. And that's how I became a football player. It taught me that, and you know, it's going into life. It was kind of hard, you know, because you know, growing up in the barrio, you know, my mom struggling for us. You got to fend for yourself. And her oldest son was me. I had 5 sisters, 2 baby brothers, so I had to protect the family. So at 8 years old, I was a pretty tough kid. I had to learn how to fight and, you know, keep people off my brothers and sisters. But you learn that toughness makes you better later on in life. But people used to think I was older than I was because I was about 5'11", 135 pounds. I was the skinniest string bean you ever seen. But I was natural. I had an explosion, a natural explosion. If I got down and hit you, you got hurt. And a lot of people said, oh, you know, when I was growing up playing Pop Warner and stuff, they go, oh, that kid's too old to be playing. They always thought I was too old. I used to knock the dog out of people, knock their helmets off, break their helmets. It was just a natural explosion I had. And that, you know, but that's from my mom knocking me down.
So you make it through school. After high school, you go into the Navy. How does that go?
No, I actually, you know, I made it through high school. I went to San Jose City College.
Okay.
The thing about the military, my mom's brother served in World War II.
Okay.
And one was in the Battle of Midway. My uncle Branta, he was on one of the ships in the Battle of Midway. And my other uncle was in the Army, and he was on the landing force when they landed on Bondi Beach, not Bondi Beach, one of the beaches. I forget the name of it. So yeah, military was in our background. And in California, you know California, that stupid state, I can't stand that state. Everybody's protesting the war. So I went to City College. I had a full ride to UCLA.
Okay.
I had a full ride to, see, I I had every Big Ten school, every Pac-10 school. I had about every college in the rest wanted me to play football or wrestle. I wanted to play football and wrestle. And a lot of people, no, you're going to play just football, no more wrestling. I wouldn't, no. I wanted to do both. I loved doing both. So the only one that gave me that opportunity was UCLA. So I started to go to UCLA, and my mom got real sick from diabetes. And so me being the head guy of the house, taking care of everything, I said, no, I ain't going. I'm going to stay close to home. Went to San Jose City College, came a 2-time All-American. I was the most decorated lineman ever. Unanimous selection, All-American, unanimous, everything. That's why my girl tells me, hell with these people think you're nothing. You're documented. Everything you've done is documented. So I stayed home to my mom. And then I got all the ugliness of the protests at Berkeley, Cal Berkeley, all these colleges protesting the poor guys coming home from Vietnam, spitting on them, throwing tomatoes on them and stuff. And I got pissed. I thought about my uncles, and I said, hell with this, Mom. I think that's how my mom got aged when I told her I'm joining the military. I'm going to go in the Marines. She said, oh, my God, no. You go in the military, you're going to join the Navy. So that was her choice, She didn't want me to be on land, But I ended up anyway.
Sure.
Going on doing what I did. But I think I aged her because watching that disgrace just ate me up. And I said, hell with this, I signed up. I volunteered.
How do you think it changed you as a person being?
Well, I was already, as people will tell you, growing up with me, I was quick-tempered. I didn't take shit from nobody. If you thought you were a badass, I put you in your place. We used to, this Fight Club, they made a movie of. In 1970, I was doing fight clubs. We used to take the guys that wanted to fight me because they called me coconut. You know what a coconut is?
Sure, it's that plant. It's hard.
Yeah, but to me, be called a coconut is I'm brown on the outside, white on the inside. So I was considered a coconut trader because I played football and wrestle. So all the Mexican gangs would try to gang up on me, and I'd take them out there in the football field and do fight club and knocking them out left and right.
You felt like you've encountered a lot of racism in your life?
In my own, by my own people.
Really?
By my own people. I came off the bus from Lincoln High School where I went. My mom sent me to Lincoln High School because it was a real good school. It was mainly white people and Oriental people. She wanted me to learn because she was a teacher. Hey, brother, the only football game I ever missed in my life, ever, in the 17 years I played, I got a C on my report card. She jarred me off the bus.
Is that right?
It's the only game I ever, she didn't play games. Right. I had to have a 2.0, 2.50, whatever, or I would not play. And she was that dead serious. I wish I could tell people, you might think I'm uneducated, but I'm not. My mother made sure of that, even when I came back. But getting back to where we started, all this nastiness, just, people protesting the war and stuff, it tore me up. And I just thought about these poor guys coming home with no limbs and stuff, and in wheelchairs and people throwing stuff at them and stuff. I saw that at San Francisco airport, saw it at it just tore me up, and like I said, that's where my temper got worse. But then when I went and served my country, I saw so much more, people could say what they want about Vietnam, and there's a lot of poor brothers of mine that rather than deal with it, they committed suicide, and that's the sad thing. People don't understand that. And you talk to people and they say, well, you made that choice. That's on you. No, it was on us to defend our country. And people don't understand that. We decided to put our life on the line so you can have your freedom. And you don't appreciate that, then you're a piece of garbage.
Years later, and I mean no disrespect by this, some people questioned your military background. How does something like that ever get started?
Idiots. People have been calling me a fake vet and posting always a fake vet. And one time I made the mistake and posted my DD-214, and my girl went off the roof. She blew a stack. Why are you doing this? See, my DD-214 has best available. All that team that went that and did Operation April Wind, right? Enduring Wind, I'm sorry. Everything that you got, you're not going to see it. It's best available. Your DD-214s always have best available. They're not going to tell you everything you did, like they do on a normal DD-214. And they just got deployed to Iraq and were in a unit just sitting down eating cookies or something like that. That's on their DD-214. Ours were confidential, so it's best available.
Why do you think you were singled out?
Because they're jealous, like my girl told me. They're so jealous they can't be you. I said, honestly, I'm not meaning this derogatory or anything. She goes, they're just gay for you. They're just gay for you. They want to talk shit about you because they'll never accomplish what you accomplished. Look at what you did in high school. Look at what you've done. And, it's going back to what I've done in high school. It's because I had, as my coach told me, you got a natural chip on the shoulder, buddy. You just want to fight all the time. Why? Probably because I didn't have a dad. Probably I used to, when I was growing up, everything was father and son, father and son, father and son. Well, all these awards coming to me in these banquets, my mom couldn't go. And I wouldn't go. And, they gave me my awards at home. The coaches bring me, sorry you didn't come. And my mom can't come, I'm not coming. She deserves it more than I do. My mom would take the awards and put them up. I didn't care for them. I've never cared for them. Since that day of winning awards, I would throw trophies in the trash, bro. I just did things that I knew I was good at doing. And I did it better than the next guy because, you got a dad? Watch me, I don't got one. Boom,
Do you regret at all not keeping some of those mementos and trophies from back then?
Very much so, especially the one I got when I was All-American playing the Shrine Bowl for the kids where they got the football player with a crippled kid walking down the gold trophy, especially that one. Because I was in the Shrine Potato Bowl, and that was for the Shriners and for kids. I should have kept that. I should have kept that. But, it's like I tell people, belts. The only belt I got is one around my pants. I don't need no belts to prove myself. I don't need I've never been the kind of person, no matter what I won, I didn't care. It's just something I did that I love doing. If you were there, then it's like I had the greatest wrestling coach in high school ever. I never wanted to be a wrestler. I told him flat out, I don't want to roll around with a bunch of men with tights. That looks stupid. I ain't doing that crap. No, hell no. And he kept on. I finally got on there. And see, the thing about me is I was proud to represent my mom. And when she was there, you could not beat me. You would not beat me. Every football team since Pop Warner to West Texas State, except the NFL, the Chiefs sucked. But I won championships and everything. And with all on that team, I made them all be champions. It was always champions. So there was always awards there. But it was just me pushing guys being harder. Come on, man. Till now, same thing, I train guys. That's what I am. But the awards never meant that much to me. But, my wrestling coach told me one day, oh, you're going to wrestle. I said, no, I'm not. I got the award for Outstanding Freshman of the Year, right? And he presented the award to me in a banquet. And he goes, and he's going out for GAA basketball. He's going to be the great GAA basketball star. Well, that's the girls' basketball team. Everybody laughed. 3,000 kids in the damn auditorium laughed. I was so embarrassed to tell him, I'll wrestle now. That's why he got me to wrestle. And the first day I went out there, I got pinned in 13 seconds. The guy, big muscle guy, doing 191s, and I was on 177. He went out there, and the coach did it on purpose, I realized later on. And the guy picked me up, boom, boom, match was over, and my mom watched in shock. I walked off that mat. I said, that'll never happen again. He goes, oh, I know. I was 201.
Wow.
It didn't happen again, brother.
After military, you went to West Texas State.
No, the whole way I ended up at West Texas State is a lot of people don't understand. I spent a lot of time with my mom with my flashbacks. My mom, it took me years to understand. Because of what we did in the pullout and what I saw happen before I came, 58,000 people, my brothers lost their life. And that just destroyed me thinking about that. I dropped everything to become a military guy to serve my country, not to run. Not to run. And I hate when people say, well, you got whipped by a third one. No, we didn't. It wasn't our choice. It wasn't our choice at all. It was a political game behind it. That's why I wouldn't vote, and I still don't vote. I hate the politics. And it took me years to get out of the fear, hiding in the closet. My mom, dinks in the wire, and her saying, hugging me and being with me all the time. And, it took years. She finally just said, Coach DeLuca was the offensive line coach at UCLA when they recruited me out of high school. Well, Grant staff let Bill Young go coach at West Texas State. And he was a good coach, and he recruited his coaches. So he brought in DeLuca from UCLA. And my mom heard about it. She called the people and said, Manny's here. And DeLuca called me, and I told him, no, I don't want nothing to do with football. I don't want nothing to do with football. I said, I don't even know if I can play it anymore. I don't want, no. And I didn't even know about West Texas State. That's where he went. He said, come on, kid, just try it. Walk on. You're a veteran. You can use the GI Bill, go on. So he kept on and on and on. And finally I said, all right, let's try it. And I went to West Texas State. I was sleeping with a 45 under my pillow. I almost got kicked out of West Texas State before I even got started because they thought I was an incoming freshman. Coach DeLuca didn't tell the people, this guy's a veteran. So they thought, you know how the seniors are and juniors are going to brag as a freshman. They were dental flossing my toes together. I went, you're going to die right now. Oh, what? I had to look at and they called me in. They go, oh, you got to go. And Coach Lucas said, I'm sorry, that's me. He's a Vietnam veteran. And you know, we're going to send the gun home. So they calmed down and everything. All the football team was like, oh, God, man, this guy, you know, he ain't no freshman. He's a war veteran.
Sure.
But I had a blast there, you know. And, you know, I was the kind of guy, I'm so competitive. Always have been. You know, and I was like fourth-string guard. I looked at Coach Luke and go, I ain't playing this game. Who the hell's first-string guard? And he goes, well, this guy right here, 6'4", is Kevin Mash. And I said, okay, bull in the ring. They put Bull in the ring, and I beat him up so bad he went home. He left, packed his gear, and went out that night, and I got a scholarship.
Wow.
So that's how that story led on to, you know, Kelly Kaninsky, Gene Kaninsky's son, was very good friends with Dick Murdoch. So he goes and tells Dick Murdoch, man, there's this crazy son of a bitch over there, and he pulled a gun on somebody, and then he beat up the guy that was in front of him and became first string. And then, according to Kelly, goes, Murdoch said, I got to meet this guy. And that's how he became one of them. I actually, you know, they thought I was crazy.
When you were a kid, did you know about wrestling? Or
No, I wrestled amateur.
I mean, you didn't know anything about pro wrestling?
No, pro wrestling was fake to me.
Yeah.
And you know, the greatest thing, why I'm still living here today, I actually said that to Mulligan, Murdoch, Terry, and Dory one time when they were talking to me. I said, this shit's fake. And I walked away. Later on, I said, God was lucky. Well, how lucky was I?
Yeah.
They didn't kill me.
Well, if a guy came in here today, knowing everything you know now, and told you, that fake wrestling shit, what would you say to him now?
Like Johnny Valentine said, it might be fake, but there's nothing fake about me. And I get him in the ring and stretch him.
Okay.
That's what the way we were taught back in the day. You got a problem with a guy, take care of it. If you have to stretch him a little bit, let him know. We can either do it this way or the hard way. I've had a couple of those, but you know, everybody decides they're going to do it this way.
Sure.
Not the hard way, because I won't play that way.
After, so I guess that was your first introduction you had met through Kaninsky.
Yeah, Kelly. He told Murdoch, and Murdoch showed up. And see, in West Texas State, we had an atmosphere with Bill Young. There was no cussing. No swearing, no nothing. If you know Kelly Kaninsky, he was our second string center, and Greg Whetstone, would always had a bad knee, so they didn't always play in the scrimmages. When we scrimmaged, right? So Kelly'd come in, and he's pigeon-toed us. Pigeon-toed us all hell, man. I mean, and every time he snapped that ball, since I was the left guard, right on my pinky toe. Oh, and them cleats, the old cleats back in the day, I jump up, I say, you son of a bitch, bam! Fernandez bear crawls. Terry Funk had a sign made to put on the post, said West Texas State, Manny Fernandez, Bear King Crawl of West Texas State. Wow. I'd always be bear crawling out there.
Do you have any early memories when you first broke in of starting to learn the business?
Well, see, when they wanted, they got interested in me, I would amateur wrestle unattached. I go and do freestyle. Chavo Guerrero coached me to Freestyle National Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chavo Guerrero was a big influence in that pro style too, because he was when I got kicked out of high school in California for fighting, I went to El Paso, Texas, where I was born, and finished my graduation. And Chavo Guerrero was the wrestling coach there, and they still had their wrestling season going. And I walked in there, never met the guy. I walked in there, and I didn't realize he was my cousin, but I never met him. I was in California the whole time, right? And I got in there, walked up to Chavo Guerrero, and I go, who's the best guy you got here? He said, that big guy right there. I said, I'll wrestle. He goes, well, you know this guy's league champion or everything. I said, I don't care. I went out there and I wrestled and tore him up, beat him up. And he went home crying. My mom calls me. When I got home, my mom goes, come here. You know that big guy, Julio Canales? She goes, that's your damn cousin you beat up. My mom's maiden name's Canales. I didn't know he was my cousin. I just beat him up and ran him off.
Wow.
Yeah. So then Chavo taught me, and I won nationals for him. And that's, that got on. And Murdoch would watch me amateur. And Murdoch he'd brag. I don't know, Murdoch took such a liking to me. Pretty soon, before I knew it, he'd show up every day when he wasn't wrestling. Come here, kid, come with me. I go, I ain't going with you, I get in trouble. He said, that's when come on, come with me. So that's how we got, attached. And, when I'd be playing and we had spring ball or stuff, he was in Japan, he'd come in his big old goose down jacket, that little Dodge Express truck that he had with pipe. Boom, you can hear him coming in. I go, oh shit, it goes Dickie. Let's get him to cuss in front of Coach Young. That was a big rib, because he'd come in and say, where's that effing boy out of mine? And Coach Young would just turn and look at him, like, you're cussing on my football field. I'm over here, Dickie, and he goes, come here, you little effing. Coach Young would go crazy, man. That's a rib I did on Coach Young.
When you were in college, you probably had dreams of being a big NFL star. I know you played for a little while.
Yeah, short time. Yeah.
Was it a big decision for you to leave football and go into pro wrestling?
Well, it was very, because my mom loved football. It's like I say about my mom. My mom never missed any game. It's like the girl that's my guardian playing. She's been watching me play sports since I was in the 8th grade. My guardian was my girl, Melinda Rocha. My mom used to travel to damn Arrowhead, Kansas City Arrowhead Stadium in a blizzard just to watch me sit the bench. And I would call her and tell her, no, I'm going to be on the kickoff team, kickoff return team. I'm on suicide squad, Mom. No, don't come out here. 10 below 0. She'd be up there with a little Mexican serape blank. You couldn't miss her. She never missed anything. But, I never thought about pro wrestling. The thing about that got me interested is, like I said, Murdoch adopted me. He'd tell people, hey, the only kid I got's a Mexican. He'd always tell people, hey, I got a kid, he's a damn Mexican. Yeah. I saw him a Texican, damn it.
Right.
And that's how me and Dickie would get along.
When you first broke in, you were learning wrestling. Would you say it's different from learning to be a wrestler today as opposed to whenever you first started? They
don't learn today. They already think they know everything. When I approached this thing, when I finally decided to do it, I told them no. I fought him. I saw Tito, Ted DiBiase, and all them guys, they were friends of mine who played ball. And, I saw Tully and all that shit. He was a quarterback one time there at West Texas, good one. But, it wasn't me. I wanted to live my mom's dream. She wanted me to play in the NFL. She knew that I was good. I got to the point where, there's bigger, better guys. No matter how hard you try, there's going to be bigger. It's just guys get released because it's a bigger, better guy. And that guy's better at what you do. And I had to face that within myself. I never felt, I hated being a loser, and I hated giving up. I wouldn't give up. It's like when I broke into business, I finally said, okay, all right, you got me. All right, I'll do it. Let's train. Dick Murdoch tells me, all right, you really want to do this? I said, well, I can't get a job 9 to 5, not with what I got. I didn't know it was PTSD at the time. It was just my bad temper, And said I couldn't get a job or keep a job. I'm not going to work 9 to 5 and never keep a job. I'll be out in the streets, and I don't want to be that. So he said, let's do it. And he goes, all right, kid, I'm going to tell you something about the business. This is the worst backstabbing, cutthroat business you'll ever want to be in. I went, oh, great. Now you tell me now that I say that? Why didn't you tell me this before? He says, but you'll be all right. Don't worry about it. So that's how we got training. And one of the greatest lines I'm going to tell you, I'm starting my autobiography, but I don't want to finish it because I feel like people should write about it when they're dead. That way they know it's a good autobiography. And Terry's gotten on me. I got 6 chapters, but one of the forwards on that is one word. One word from one of the greatest guys that ever wrestled, Jack Briscoe. When they asked him, hey, will you do Manny Fernandez forward? And he said, yeah, no problem. Well, tell us about him in the forward. He goes, one word, natural. Just natural. That was it. That's the greatest line. He says he just does things naturally. You don't have to teach him, it just comes to him.
Let's say we had a time machine right over here, and you today could go back to when you first started in the wrestling business, and you could tell yourself anything. What would you tell yourself 30 or 40 years ago when you first started?
Don't get into business. No, I would tell myself, you should have listened from the beginning, because those guys had nothing but good thoughts about me doing this, And what do I tell myself? I would probably tell myself, keep living to teach people the right way. People don't understand it. This business is beautiful if you treat it that way. But a lot of people don't understand that. And my little doggy, my service dog, hears somebody walking, so he wants to make sure they don't jump me, see?
Keeps you safe.
Keep me safe. He doesn't like that. But, what I see today, like I said, last week me and Terry talked. We always, every couple months, 6 months, a year, I'll get a call. Where you at, kid? You need to come see me. It's about that time. So we do sit-downs. I call it like the mafia, sit down, and we talk about the business. He knows how much I love the business, and if you read his book, the chapter on me is about my craziness, running over people with a car and all that. And one of the good things he says, Manny Fernandez has never been about the money. He's always been about the boys. He loves the boys so much. That's what I would love to do. If I knew this would happen, I would try to get a union started to protect the boys later on in life. I know we got the Cauliflower Alley thing that gives money to the hurting wrestlers, but if you had a union to protect them, well, like the guys have a union, but a good union, not a stupid union that wants to just take money. I'm talking about the boys getting, like the NFL, just like the NFL. That's what I always would base that on, but that's what I would think about more than anything.
You mentioned Dick Murdoch said that this is the most cutthroat backstabbing. Do you think that at any point in wrestling where there's so much backstabbing and cutthroating that a union could work? Could enough guys get on board with it to make it?
If it was back then, because of the respect you had for one another back then, you don't have that respect anymore. That respect is gone. There's some very few people that I met, some great kids, Michael Aldrin, Ethan Page, and Ethan Wright. Those guys are they got trained by Harley. So they have that respect. So that would make it work. When people respect what you're doing, then you're all right. But there's everybody around here thinks they know everything. The worst thing about this business is people don't know nothing. If you can't keep growing, then you're dead. I've been doing this almost 41 years, and I'm still learning. When I get these kids in the ring and teach them, I learn from them. Watching their mistakes, I said, wow, what if I do this to correct it? That's even better. You can't stop learning. If you stop learning, you're dead. But that's all about that.
Well, I think this is a great opportunity because a lot of young guys watch these videos, so I think it's a good opportunity to learn from someone like you. So.
Oh yeah, I tell people all the time. I said, dudes, don't do all that stupid stuff. I'm not a small guy by any means. And when I was wrestling full time, brother, I wasn't that small, but I didn't go muscle up and everything, slamming guys. That was my partner's job. He was the muscle guy. So he did his gimmick and I did my gimmick. I was a crazy, mean-ass, bad-tempered, kick-ass guy. It's like I tell people. Well, one of the greatest lines I heard about me one time is when I turned, and when I turned heel, it was white. I looked at Tommy Young, and he goes, Manny, go. I said, what do you mean, go? He said, brother, everybody's silent. That's white heat. I didn't even know what it meant then, because I never heard of it. He goes, brother, white heat means when they explode, they're going to try to destroy you. So I said, thank you, Tommy. So I jumped out, and I got within 2 feet of the door, and all of a sudden, boom! And everything in their mother hit me. Everything was thrown. You name it. Shoes, bottles, everything. They threw everything in the world at me. They tried to kill me. The cops had to get me out. So they wouldn't let me leave the building until everybody was gone. I walked to my car, and there was this good-looking girl got out of her car, Mustang, in fact. She got out, come over to me, 5.0 Mustang at that. And I thought she was going to come say hi. She took out a 32 Smith & Wesson, put it right to my head.
Wow.
And the cop goes, drop it, ma'am, drop it. And I'm like, holy shit.
That's unbelievable.
That's heat. That's heat, and that's the kind of heat people need to go. Learn, don't be afraid of getting heat. And that's the kind of heat I kept. Let's
back up a little bit. Do you have any memories of your first match?
Oh, God, yeah. That was the best. I'll always remember that. I had one punch Alex Perez. He used to be a great boxer, right? And he didn't like that we had to go Broadway. Dick again, Mulligan and Murdoch bought out the Funks in that M&M territory, right? And I went out there, and that's why I tell my kids, keep your hands up. Protect yourself at all times. You never know what's going to happen. He goes, we were in there, and I was tied up, and he goes back me up and goes, drop your hands, kid. So I dropped my hands. He went, boom! He knocked me out standing up. I was like, I was on the rope just knocked out. He pulled me back there. Boy, I felt bad for him, though. Because, man, when he got back, Dickie and Mulligan destroyed him. You hit my kid like that again? Bam, bam, bam. I will kill you. Wow. They beat the living crap out of him. And I said, God, stop. Man, they were beating him bad.
Were you the Raging Bull right out the gate? Or
no. I was just Manny Fernandez. And in Florida, they tried to call me Latin Lightning. Red just taking a walk. And they tried to call me Latin Lightning. And then Terry Funk had me going because he cut that in, Macho Manny Fernandez, you egg-sucking dog. So everybody started calling me Macho Man. I hated it. I hated that stuff. And then I said, I don't want those names. I just want Manny Fernandez. And Dickie goes, go back to being who you are. You fight all the time, which is called, because that movie was popular. And he says, "We'll just call you the Raging Bull. That's what you are anyway." So that's how it stuck. You know.
Such a great name. I mean, it's like an all-time wrestling memorable
Right.
Raging Bull. Are you surprised that at some point, like WWE hasn't tried to rip that off and put it on some new guy? I mean, it's so classic and iconic.
Well, they did that one. They made the mistake one time when I was in Japan. They had a Manny Fernandez come out there and Goldberg spear him. And I got on the phone and said, "You guys got kids, remember that. I will hurt them. I will cripple them."
Yeah.
End of story. You won't see Manny Fernandez. You won't see Raging Bull. There's one guy tried to call himself Bull. That was Bader, Leon White. And when he goes, "The baby bull," I said, "There's only one bull in this business, dude, and that's me. And then when I see you, we'll find out." And he went out to Big Van Vader. Vader was his name. But, yep, I'm proud of that. You know, Dickie gave me that. That's something I'm proud of.